Miles. Always liked all superheroes, but he always kind of comes back to Batman. Natalie called screaming, crying, and said Miles has leukemia. One of his doctors told us that with his disease, they just become like a fighter. They fight for life. And so I think he sees the good versus evil battle in superheroes.
We waited until the end of treatment to make his wish.
Said, I want to be the real Batman, was his exact wish.
Because he's my favorite superhero.
How are you going to be the real Batman?
When we're going about doing a wish, it is whimsical and thinking about what would wow that child. And gives them a little bit of their childhood back that's been robbed. So we decided to turn San Francisco into Gotham City and have him have these capers with a full-size grown-up Batman so that he'd have a buddy. One of our volunteers put into Facebook and Twitter, and like wildfire, just like it exploded.
The postings were from like all over the world. This little boy really struck a nerve. When I saw that face, I wanted to be a part of that.
And everybody wondering, what can I do?
There were predictions that we would have tens of thousands of people.
We had people flying in to experience this.
What did we get ourselves into?
Well, this may be the feel-good story of the year. A boy's wish about to come true.
A young leukemia patient is being given a chance to live out his dream to be a superhero.
I'm like, there's a lot of cops around, and he needs a car seat.
You see massive thousands of people. I don't even know how to describe it.
Gotham City needs you, Batkid.
The story has gone viral with folks from all over the world cheering him on.
Every actor that ever played Batman was tweeting, Adam West on line 1. Okay, that's normal.
Let me out!
No!
Way to go, Miles. Way to save Gotham.
Believe it or not, they're dancing for you.
He gave everybody license to just be a little absurd, live their little dreams for a little bit.
People were holding up signs saying, "Save us, Batkid." In helping him to live this dream, we were saving ourselves.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is very exciting. I feel like I should have a box of tissues next to my water. But we're not watching the whole film right now, so that's probably a good thing because it's absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy to share the stage with you. Well, maybe not you, Mike. I don't know how I feel about being with a bad guy. Should we be afraid the penguin is going to come?
Oh, God, no. I'm Canadian, so I'm very non-threatening.
In real life, but not in this film.
Oh, yeah,
and not in the experience that was Batkid Begins. Dane, I want to start with you because you're an award-winning filmmaker. You have your pick of choices to work on, but yet you saw something in the phenomenon that captured billions of people, literally, hundreds of countries, and you decided, you know, I gotta find out more about this Batkid.
Yeah, it was amazing. I felt when I was so lucky to get a meeting with Patricia, somebody has to be doing this already and making a documentary. And a lot of people had reached out to her already, but she didn't have the time or bandwidth to deal with them. And I just got lucky, and it was the right place, right time. And I was so grateful that she chose me, which was very flattering. And this was my 4th film, and my first 3 films were very dark and serious, social justice movies. And my kids had been begging me, please do a movie that we would like, which I found offensive and horrible, but then, you know, I really wanted something that they could be involved in, and my son shot has a couple of shots in here that he shot, and so he has a cinematography credit in it, and we just got to work together, and now we go around and talk about it together, so that I wanted something that was childlike and fun.
It's childlike fun, and it has a message. It's absolutely incredible, and I can't wait for everyone to see it. But Patricia, what she just said is so real. Here you are, Greater Bay Area Make-A-Wish Foundation, trying to make wishes happen. This wish happened to go viral before it even happened. Dana reaches out to you. What's going through your head when you have so many people, including the phenomenally talented Dana, say, we have to be a part of this?
It's a little crazy. I mean, as a charity, you're used to begging, right, and looking for people and trying to engage them. And in this project, it really was. Everyone offered and said yes, and everyone said, what else can I do? And it was that beautiful outpouring of love and compassion for a little boy, you know, battling a very adult thing, right? So he's battling cancer, and I think it just resonated with a lot of people.
It resonated with a lot of people, Mike, and it touched hearts, and it created a story and a narrative, and it begs the question, and the documentary has this question as well, is Did Miles need the world? The little boy's name is Miles, of course. Or did the world need Miles? And as someone such a huge key part of this journey, what do you think the answer to that is?
Yeah, I think to me the one of the really interesting messages in the film. Well, there's a lot, but one of the ones I really like is how we kind of wrap it up at the end, and we challenge the audience to volunteer, to take part in their community. We say at some point, I say in a voiceover, it's very odd that this kind of thing doesn't happen more often, and I think we're saying that this is something we did. This is a statement we sort of unintentionally made about community service, about coming together, and about doing something for your community together, about not being, a person that lives in an apartment that never talks to your neighbors, as we all are these days. And I think we're giving a bit of an old world message, and I like that that's something that's in the film.
Patricia, for those who don't yet know, who haven't gotten a chance to see more information about Batkid Begins, what this thing actually is, initially, this was just a wish that Miles had. He had leukemia. They chose to wait for him to have his wish after the treatment. And what was his wish exactly?
His wish was to be, and I quote, the real Batman. So, when we're going about doing a wish, you have to put yourself and figure that out in his head, a 5-year-old. What does Batman look like? And so initially I found out that his inspiration was the old Batman, the old Adam West TV show. So went back and I presented some ideas to the family, and I said, so, we could do something in your hometown of Tule Lake, 1,000 people, right by the Oregon border. Maybe he rescues the principal of his school. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe the principal's the villain. I don't know, right?
Depends on his experience.
Or we had a theme park in Northern California, and I thought, ooh, we could rescue someone on a roller coaster. And then the third option, because I remember driving home one night, and I saw the fog rolling in. It was very dramatic, and I thought, this is a pretty amazing city. It kind of looks very Gotham-like. I can turn San Francisco into Gotham City, and that was the idea that resonated most, because he wanted to be the real Batman, so he wanted to create a real Gotham City.
And you were hoping how many people would show up originally?
Okay, I failed miserably, people. No, really. So our intent was 200 people. That feels like a crowd, particularly for a 5-year-old, because I wanted
From a town of 1,000.
So I wanted enough people around him that he would feel safe, and enough people cheering so he would feel like a superhero. And we put the call out, and someone cut and paste the exact email that we sent to our volunteers that listed the locations, the times, and how many people we needed into their Facebook feed, and said, this is the coolest wish ever. And the next thing you know, we saw it in a blog in SFist, and then it just snowballed like you can't imagine. Yeah.
And how many people ended up?
We had crowd estimates of 25,000 people came to San Francisco. Oh, and here's another one of my brilliant ideas. So, huge failures, right? I had always wanted to tweet a wish in real time, and I thought social media would lend itself to revealing that. Most wishes are very private. In this case, it was a public wish, and I already had all the breaking news stories in the can, so I thought, well, people could watch the wish unveil as Miles was doing it live, right? And I thought that by doing that, that would stop this pilgrimage of people who were flying into San Francisco to experience it, but that backfired and only encouraged more people to do it, and estimates of 2 billion people online watching it.
It's absolutely incredible.
So it's an okay failure, right?
And Dana, what Patricia just said, but here we wanted it in a place where he could feel safe. We wanted in the crowd about 200 people. This is a 5-year-old kid, after all. The documentary does a beautiful job of weighing the heavy weight of being a cancer survivor on this little boy's head, this very adult issue that we've already talked about, but also being Batman and saving the day, being a shining star and an example of bravery.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely amazing. And I think, one of the first critics to ever watch the film wrote me this beautiful email after he watched it. And he said, the moment that the crowd see Miles, we have this great dramatic superhero music that comes out, and he's a shy little kid. He's very shy, and he puts on the costume, and literally he's like, and he's just he turns into Batman like he really did. But I think, in all seriousness, he related to Batman on a very personal level because he was very experienced at such a young age of fighting evil, really, in his own life.
That's interesting. And as an actor, you can relate to putting on the costume, putting on the putting on the airs and how that can help you get through in life. It very much parallels a cancer journey.
Yeah, for me, so I'm my real life is I'm a computer graphics software engineer in San Francisco. So I work in computers.
You mean you aren't the penguin?
No, not really.
He was
Sorry
an
to burst
actor
your
for
bubble.
one day.
No, come on.
But,
Give him a little penguin.
Oh. I must have practiced that like 100 million times. But that was, I sort of took what I had. I'd done like, improv in high school and stuff and whatnot. But I just, something we do a lot in film and in software engineering is we have to be very, very meticulous. And so I watched over and over and over all the old Batmans. I watched the movie. I was like glued to my TV for about a week or so out and just watching Burgess Meredith's character because I was like paranoid I was going to do it. Either make him cry, which would be an epic fail, or do a terrible job with 2 billion people watching, which was totally, both of those were unexpected things. So, so it was a great chance to really work hard and try to pull something off for him, most importantly, but also for all the people that were excited.
Right, and Dana, maybe Batkid was strong enough not to cry, but the film also touches upon a lot of people in his life that have been very touched by this experience, namely his parents and the journey they've gone through.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, from being a parent myself, I can't imagine what it's like to, they talk about, and we get the sad part of the film, or of the journey, over in the first 8 minutes, so it's a very happy movie, so I don't want to dwell on the sadness, but I think one of the scariest things in the movie is when I didn't realize that when you get diagnosed with leukemia, they want to treat you, like, literally within hours. So because he lives in this very remote town, they had to fly him in, like, a medevac plane to the biggest city, and since he was a daddy's boy at the time, he used to. Nick said he wasn't going to be on a gurney by himself in the airplane, so they strapped the dad to the gurney, and then they strapped Miles to the dad. And I just like I get chills thinking about that, and it just breaks your heart that and they're very young. The parents, I think at the time were like 26 and 28.
And Miles, 18 months old.
Right, and so
he's a baby, right?
like for them to go through this. And be able to come out of it as such happy, positive people that they are. It just shows the resilience that people have. Obviously Miles has it, but certainly they have it, and their grandparents as well.
And Miles, again, Patricia, is just but one of so many kids, and their families, but one of so many families. Again, like you said, many people generally have a more private request for a wish. But
Thank
what
God.
are I don't know if you can handle another bag. Next thing you're gonna have Captain America kid, Wonder Kid, Wonder Woman.
I've got a costume already.
But what are the commonalities that you see when you see what you see in Miles, what we see in this documentary, his character, his spirit? It's a very similar vibe with a lot of the kids who are dealing with whether it's terminal cancer or a cancer they can persevere.
I think Make-A-Wish comes to them when they need it most, and we give them hope, strength, and joy. And what it does, and I've been with Make-A-Wish almost 17 years now, and each time, I don't know that I can articulate what, it's so magic, and you have to see it, but it's not just for the child, and it's amazing, and I would do it just for the child, but it invigorates their entire family, their entire social network. It invigorates the medical team. Everyone is touched, and it's just such a wonderful thing to be able to, as I said in the trailer, right, to give them back a little bit of their childhood that's been robbed. I'm a mom. I have 2 healthy kids. I can't imagine what that diagnosis is like, and so I think of that when I'm planning a wish and thinking I want to make it special for them. I want to give them a great experience.
And Dana, part of that is why with the documentary you have the Batkid Fund.
Yes, so Patricia actually started the Batkid Fund right after the day after they realized there was such an outpouring of love for Miles and the whole day. And then we wanted, we didn't want to capitalize on the story. We just wanted to be given the opportunity to make the story. So we're donating the proceeds, the filmmakers, our team's proceeds, to the Batkid Fund, which will go to 5 San Francisco charities. Who Patricia can tell you about.
And I mean, that is
including
the most beautiful
Make-A-Wish.
thing. Her generosity, so this film is paying it forward again. It's just beautiful. Her.
And on the note of the film paying it forward again, the entire process, starting with this cut and paste thievery of the Make-A-Wish initial message has created such a cycle. Talk about what your fundraising goals were before Batkid and after Batkid began.
It's a little crazy. So my chapter in Northern California, we saw a 26% increase in revenue, but I have a 40% increase in the number of wishes. And I'm kind of kicking myself, to be honest. I have a regret, and my regret is that I didn't have Miles really rob a bank, because I think we could have gotten away with it. In fact, I think some of the banks might have been competing. No, take me. And then I never need to fundraise again. So.
The best laid plans come after, but the penguin's always around.
Yeah, we won't get away with it next time. They're watching us now.
No, yeah. I went and said it out loud.
And again, for the vast majority of people, whether they're watching live, whether they're watching this documentary, whether they were part of the Twitter social media campaign, whether they got on a plane and were there, why do you think it had such pull? Why do you think when you see it, when you see the documentary, you realize there's so much pull. There's so much that we gravitate towards in this story.
Yeah, I think to me the story itself is very cinematic, is very heroic. I mean, you have a 5-year-old cancer survivor, so that's amazing in itself. He's bested a demon before he, can even drive a car, can even ride a bike even. And read, yeah. So there's an amazing, he's tackled something that none of us could ever imagine in our lives at such a young age. So it's amazing, and it's also so wonderful that he's healthy, he's in remission, that there's such a great ending to the story, too, that we all know already. So there's that, there's the social media aspect, there's the community coming together, there's all the different companies in Silicon Valley, just everybody saying yes and being part of this crazy adventure that we all went on together. It's really cool. There's a lot of different angles, and I think people will find it very interesting on lots of different levels.
Mike just said it, but everyone always wants to know, how is Miles today?
He's great. He's finishing up, I think, this week, first grade. He just played Little League. He's an awesome kid, and he's in remission, and we're really happy. He eats a lot. He's a real eater.
And one of the cute things he does, some of the kids at school wanted him to bring his costume in because they wanted to know what it felt like to be Batkid, which he does, and shares it with other kids, so they have a chance to be Batkid too.
Has he shared? That's so sweet. Has he shared anything about how does he perceive all of this wish drama, all of this Batkid Begins?
Well, he believes he was the real Batman. I mean, on Sunday, the San Francisco Chronicle had a front page story that said Batkid Save City. They reprinted it on the Sunday paper, and he walked by and saw it, and he goes, I'm available to save more lives today.
They need me.
Yeah. I mean, he thinks that I run Gotham City.
That is true.
I love it so much. Well, here's the thing. Full disclosure, spoiler alert, she doesn't run Gotham City, but these people do an amazing job with telling a story that's inspirational and informational at the same time. And we welcome any questions that you have regarding this film, their other projects, Make-A-Wish, and related works. If you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand.
Hi. My question is for you, Patricia, but first I want to say I'm from the Bay Area, and I was in New York.
Warriors!
Yeah, I know, right? My sister was Snapchatting me Batkid all day, and I was so jealous I wasn't there. But my question is, how do you top this wish? How do you use this to leverage more involvement next time when a child has a major wish to grant?
Well, that's a tough question. I don't think we'll ever top it in some level because it was so organic and beautiful. I say that, but I also think for the wish itself, I top it every day. My chapter's doing 350, 390 wishes this year, and we approach each one with the same level of love and try to make something special for that child. As far as renewing people's faith in humanity and being one of the favorite things that have ever happened to San Francisco, yeah, I don't think I can top that.
And it's important to note, not every family or every child wants to try to best Batkid.
Thank God.
Yeah, a lot, yeah. And though unfortunately you're going to have a bunch of people probably now, hey, I saw what you did.
But remember, he didn't want that either. He wanted to be Batman, and I was going to do a sweet little thing, and that's kind of the beauty of a 5-year-old, is that I don't think he understood. Thank goodness, right? He's not on Twitter, right? So he wasn't. it wasn't spoiled for him, and a crowd of people, whether it was 200 or 25,000, looks probably the same to a 5-year-old. It's obviously going to take him until he's 30-something to understand what happened.
What?
And we have a wonderful documentary that he gets to see.
Right, and Dana, kids these days grow up with iPhones in their faces, so what's the difference between movie cameras and an iPhone, right? Was he kind of aware that, okay...
Oh, I think he's pretty shy. And so when we went to their house, we were trying to really back off. One thing I really admire about Miles, and I know a lot of kids his age are, he knows what he wants. So he's like, no cameras, no photography. So I think, but during the day of, I think he was so in the moment, he didn't notice what was around him. And I think what Patricia always says is that, 200 people is the same as 25,000 people to a 5-year-old. And so I think that's an amazing thing that really beyond the first level of people that he saw, he didn't know that there was 25 rows back. He just didn't know.
Depth perception is not a 5-year-old's strength. Are there any other questions?
This question is from Periscope. How can people with special talents, comedians, actors, people like that, get involved with Make-A-Wish and be able to say, hey, I want to put my name in there and get involved if a project comes up because they want to be involved in something like that?
And I'm still, by the way, trying to find the application for Periscope, and we've been Periscoping today. It's my first. But I encourage you to go to the website, wish.org, and take a look wherever you are and wherever your home chapter is, and to look at, we do have information about volunteers or resources that you have. And it's wonderful and creative and whimsical, and it'll change your life in a great way forever. One
thing I felt was that you could bring anything you have to Make-A-Wish or to any other similar organization. EJ is a stuntman. EJ, the guy who played Batman, stuntman. He's an engineer. He's a mechanical designer. So he inventor. So he
That's
did
all.
Yeah, just all those things.
He's a slacker.
He is Bruce Wayne, basically. But so I don't have so many of those Bruce Wayne skills. But there were other things that I thought, I'm a very organized person. I know a lot of people who make movies for a living. So there were other things that I could bring to this project, and everybody really brought their own unique sort of skills and background, and it was good to see really anything anybody has can be useful.
And for example, when we think of all of our skills and talents, it's interesting what people have and how they can be utilized in often tier 3 ways. For example, with the soundtrack. Many people wouldn't think, soundtrack, I have music skills, or I have composing skills. You had a lot of fabulous collaboration with the soundtrack, much of it being donation.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, after we did a crowdfunding campaign for the film in July, and I don't know how many emails. I couldn't even keep up with the emails of people donating music or wanting to donate music. And I think the coolest thing of the day was Hans Zimmer, the composer who did the Dark Knight trilogy, among other things. I think he won his Academy Award for The Lion King, if I'm correct. And he did a song for Miles when he heard about it to donate to Make-A-Wish for the day, and sent it off to Patricia and said, you have this whole day, you have this episode of Batman, you need a soundtrack to go along with it. And that's in the film, and it's amazing.
Well, and it got crazier. I mean, so the number of offers of Lamborghinis, which my staff is kind of annoyed, I didn't accept that because it could have been nice, but the news media calling, and it's a big deal when you hear from Al Jazeera and the Goodyear blimp. And we did. In the White House.
So much outpouring of love. Are there any other questions? Yes.
So where can we see the movie?
Thank you. We love that question.
Best question ever.
So the film is coming out on June 26th in 3 markets, New York, LA, and San Francisco. And then it's going out from there throughout July, nationwide in different cities. And we're so excited for it to go national.
It's going to Canada, too.
Will it be subtitled there?
Oh, yeah, you know it.
Are there any other questions?
Time for one more question.
Well, what's next? What's next for, obviously with Make-A-Wish, I think that you're up to over a wish a day. What's next for the film? It's going national. Will we see what's next for the film and its tour?
Yep, so we know about, they're putting it out in different waves in different cities and adding on. I think the better it does, the more cities they'll add, so please tell everybody you know. And then after that, they're working on a remake of it, a fictitious version of it. Warner Brothers is with Julia Roberts. She might be playing somebody who's on the stage, not me, and not a man. No.
So we go from Aaron Brockovich to Patricia, Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
Woo!
Have you had conversations with Julia?
No, I mean, that's crazy.
Is she when you're in? You've said that like 5 times. Maybe she's just in your inbox and you haven't been able to sort through it.
Pull up in a Lamborghini one day. I mean, obviously, it's just incredibly flattering, and she's an accomplished actress, and I don't even know what to say beyond that.
Well, if you had any tips for Julia Roberts from playing your character, what might it be?
Do you have an idea? I'm afraid. All I know is that my neighbors are convinced that she's going to come live in my house for a period of time. And then that's very exciting. And my board is very excited to know if she's coming to a board meeting, because I think it'll be the most well-attended meeting we've ever had.
Pretty woman is here.
And my friends and family say, this could be a tough one for you.
Well, you just tell them, hey, it's the neighbor's job to get the yard straight, okay? Well, we appreciate each of you being here.